Right, so I've got the ground floor level there starting to come together, and now I want to get the structural elements on that level to match what's actually existing. And so you can see here we've got a hardwood timber column with this capital. That's interesting. And then we've got also hardwood beams and then some steel beams as well. So I'm going to give you some families that you can use for all of those things. Starting with the column, I'm going to select one of them and change it into the column that I want. And you can see over here in properties, this column is set to go from the basement to the roof. So what I'm going to do now, before I change this to a different kind of column, I'm going to change the levels. So I'm going to make this start instead at ground floor, and I'm going to make it finish at level 1. So previously the column was going from the very bottom of the building, from the basement all the way up to the roof. Now I've made it shorter so it only is going across one level, and I'll draw a section through the building there just so that's all clear. So you can see there my other columns still go all the way through, but this column here you can see now is only on that level. It's not a bad idea to check that if you're doing this yourself, because you might see, even though you've changed the levels, if it's attached, I'm just going to do that now, you don't have to do this, but you can see there I've attached the column so that you can see it's still possible for it to go through to the roof when it's attached to it, even though in the levels it's set to go from ground floor to level 1. So watch out for that. If you've changed the levels to the setting you want but you don't see the column, or this works for walls too, if you don't see that change, then check the attachment, and in the panel there on the ribbon at the top, when the column's selected, you can see I've got the option then also to detach top base, and then I'm going to select detach all on the options bar there. So that button there will just detach the column from everything, and now you can see, well, it still is wrong, but we know why. If I go into properties now, you can see the levels, base level to ground floor, so ground floor to level 1 I mean, and then below that it's got this top offset. So I've put that in because it was going up to the roof, but now if I type 0 there, it will go back to finish on this, well, on the level. Now the final thing then, you could also attach it to this floor. You can see there, if I just hover over the column, it's actually going through the floor, and so you can attach it now to that floor, but I might come back and look at that once I've changed it to the other kind of column. So just again, looking at the column that's selected, I'm going to go then to edit type, load, and then browsing to the Revit library folder on the P drive. So if you've got a shortcut, you can use that. You've got that on the left there, Revit library. But if you've forgotten where that is, it's on the P drive again, EDU DC Interior Design, and then Revit library, there. And then in structural, you'll see timber square column with capital. Okay, so basically it's a timber column just like we need, and it's got this capital, which is very close to what we need as well. Slightly different, this one has a little bit more detail in it, but this one is very close, and we can just modify it slightly. Okay, so I'm going to double click on that column, and then just click OK. So it hasn't changed, well, it's actually changed a little bit in plan. So then the size here is maybe a little bit different. I think that's actually 400, not 250. So I'm going to, still with the column selected, go back to edit type, duplicate, and put in the new size, 400 by 400 millimeters. And then all I need to do is change that B value under dimensions to 400. Okay, so I'm just going to click OK, and I can see the column change size in plan. So now I'll go back to the section view, and you can see then that we've got the column, or the capital then at the top of that column as well. Is it not showing the capital? Could just be your sections looking in a different direction. So try pressing space, and that should rotate the column if you want to see it. Yeah, that's right. It should look like a T. Yep. Yep. That's right. So, yep. So, okay. So, like I said, we could attach it to the floor, but I wanted to show you a good way of doing the floor structure as well. So, yep, that's right. It will. Yep. So you can see here that we've got what looks like a plasterboard or some sort of flat ceiling there, and it's probably come down around the beam. So I'd say most likely there is a set of floor joists above this beam that supports the floor above, but then under the floor joists there would be possibly battens framing it out, or maybe the ceiling lining is just fixed directly to the floor joists, but either way you definitely have some sort of ceiling lining there. And one option for your designs might be to remove that ceiling lining and have the floor joists exposed, and you could easily model in the floor joists and have them as a nice feature that you'll see in your perspectives. And if you're going to do that, I'm going to do that, and I'll show you how to do it, then the floor joists need to sit on top of your beam. So you need to allow space for that. And then also you've got the, you'll see the flooring above, and that will probably be just floorboards. And that could be, again, a nice thing to leave exposed for the underside, essentially for your ceiling. So instead of attaching it to this floor, you could change this floor to the floorboards. And again, I might just do that. I'm going to go to edit type. So I've selected the floor there, that's all I did, and then going to edit type, I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to call it what it is, timber floor boards. So this floor object is only for my floorboards. Click OK, edit the structure, and change the material there to timber material, and I'll duplicate the material and call it timber floorboards as well. Just one of the timber materials. Yep, any, doesn't really matter. Yep, duplicate it, call it timber floorboards. And then I'm going to change the surface pattern. So I'm clicking on the none option there for pattern under surface pattern, not cut pattern. And I'm going to go to model for the pattern type. And then just choose any of the parallel lines, 100 or 150. I think because it's a big space, we'll do 150. So then, under Appearance, I'm going to right-click on that Appearance tab and go to Replace. Go to the Appearance Library and find the the flooring folder, and then wood.
So what's the difference between the space and the duplicate?
You don't get, well, it doesn't bring up this library if you do duplicate. You could do duplicate, but if you want to see all of these things in the Appearance Library, you need to go to Replace. Yep, that's all good. So I'm just going to double click on one of these flooring materials. Doesn't matter really because you can easily come back and change it. So almost randomly I'll double click on one that looks like floorboards. Close it. That's ready to go. So don't be too precious with that material because you can easily come back and fine tune it later. Just going to click OK. The main thing is that it's assigned. And then I'm going to change the thickness to the thickness of floorboard. So how thick do you think a floorboard is? Something you all would have seen. Piece of timber. It's about so thick. 15, 20 mil, something like that, that's right. So 20 mil, probably a good thickness. And so that's it. So it's a very thin floor. So I just wanted to show you this because this can be a really good way of making exposed floor structures. If you just leave the floor there for the floor lining, really. And then we're going to model in joists and things under that. So the column, like I said before, it could be attached to the floor here, but that's really not going to do much. It's only going to bring it down 20 mil. We've got to bring it down further than that to allow for the joists, and so I'm just going to assume my joists are 100 and, let's say they're 150 mil. So plus the 20 mil for the floor, that makes 170 mil. So I'm going to make it minus 170 there in the top offset. So let's point it down with a gap for my joists, which will go in later. 170, minus 170. Okay, so now I can simply replace or match the properties with all of these columns, all of the other columns. So there are a couple of little tricks there. You can try to use maybe a tool that you might have seen before, but maybe not do what you want it to do. This one here, match properties. In Word, I know that's your best friend, but in Revit, a lot of people try to use it and then give up when it doesn't work like it does in Word, you know, the paintbrush in Word. So, but here though, it's really useful. If I choose match type properties, I can select this column, and if I choose this one over here, it's matching the properties. Now, it's trying to, that's all right, so it's, no, that's okay. So this actually is normal. I'll show you why that's come in like this. But I just thought I'd show you that one because I know it's a tool that people often wonder about. So you can go along like that, picking each column. Show you a slightly faster way. Select one of them, and then right-click, and then select all instances. Well, here, entire project would be okay. Visible in view actually would be fine as well. So I selected all of those. Now, I want to select those other columns as well. Notice how it hasn't selected them because they're a different type of column. So it has a different name here, so that means they're a different type. So I'll just use Control and select them with a window. That's fine. So to match the properties, I can do that manually by just choosing the type that I've set up over here. So remember, I've given it a name, 400 by 400 mil. So it's easy to pick it from the list. And then I just need to manually put in the same changes I did before. So the level going up to top level, level 1, base level, ground floor, and then top offset minus 170. And now they should be all the same. Oh, except, what have I forgotten? Detach top base, detach all. Oh, they look okay. It's giving me a bit of grief with the capital still showing there, so I'm just going to have a look in the section and see. No, they're all the same there. This happens sometimes. Let's go back and. That's annoying. Yes, that's right. That's it. Exactly. That's right. Yeah, that's the whole point. Yeah. So let's see if it's doing this in all the views. Yeah, this happens. So there you can see the capital showing in plan. Just going to make sure this one is the same properties. They're almost exactly the same, but there's a reason it's showing. It's because of there's a thing called visibility settings. Let's have a look at that, but I'm pretty sure I've set it up properly. Oh no, okay, something's gone wrong there. How did that get turned on? Okay, so I'll just save that. So that's, yeah, that's the one on the P drive. So if you have the same problem as me, just reload it from the P drive and that will update it. Just see how they were showing as rectangles in plan? Yeah, yeah. So it's only if you have that problem, you can just reload it from the library and that'll fix it. I don't know why it reset it, but anyhow, easy to fix. So, okay, so that's exactly what you want. You want the columns on one level only, and then the very last thing, I'll give you a bit more time to try all these things in a second. I'm just going to select one column again, right click, and use that excellent option, select all instances, visible in view, and then I'm going to use copy to clipboard, and then this time paste align to selected levels. Yep, the 2 pages, and then paste align to selected levels, and I'm going to click and drag from level 1 to 6. Yep, and then hold down control and get basement 2. Oh no, basement would be concrete, aren't they? Well, that's okay. We'll still need columns there. We'll just change them to concrete. So, yep, basement 2. And that's it. Okay, and now, it'll take it a minute because there's a lot of copying to do, but now we'll have columns on each level, but there's still one more issue. The heights are the same as they were on the ground floor. Now, it's an easy thing to fix. This is actually done for a reason. Again, it can be really helpful to have it done that way. But I don't want that extra height. So by just selecting one column again, right-click, select all instances, in entire project this time. I want every column. Now, you can see that the top offset is not showing anything. That means that there are different values. And that's why it can't show the value. And I can simply then type 0 for the top offset, and that will remove any offsets. And sorry, that's I hit enter, so I'll cancel that. So now you can see it's, oh no, sorry, not 0. So what do we need to do? What should it have been? Exactly, that's right. Minus 170, that's good. So yeah, minus 170, because they should all be the same. So minus 170 for the top offset, try that again. They should all come down the same amount. There we are. Oh, okay, I'll come and have a look in a sec. So, yeah, that's right. Yeah. And so then I could also, at this stage, maybe make these floors all into the one with the timber floorboards. We still have to put the joists in before that'll look good, but still it doesn't hurt. And what was I going to ask you? Got now? Oh yeah, sorry. So if you're going to do try to have exposed timber floor structures, do you know maybe what the main issue could be then? If you're thinking about doing that, because it could be a really good option for a building like this.
Stuff going through?
Kind of, yeah. Well, what are you trying to protect people from in buildings like this? What's the most dangerous? Even more dangerous? What kills people? Fire. So, yeah. Well, yeah, termites maybe if they, did a lot of damage over. Yeah. So, so with a timber building like this, if you have exposed timber structures, that's it's harder to get a fire rating for that, and you won't get a fire rating usually that's high enough for the type of building. So what often you need to do is build a new floor above the existing floor. So that way you can have the bottom exposed and still see the nice timber floorboards from the bottom. Then you put new floor joists in above, right on top of the floorboards, and then they put a any fire protection in between those, and or actually underneath them as well, and then new floorboards on top of that. So you lose maybe 100 mil, maybe even more. Of course, absolutely, yeah, yeah. So most of the buildings that have hotels in them that are from this era have that exact floor structure.
Could you suggest just what those means for the whole thing?
Uh,
I mean, to have the columns exposed even
Yeah.
in the hotel?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, people like. Yeah, I thought.
Just remember that if you have a lot of Chinese guests, they won't see from the beach.
Oh, right. Yep. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
Feng Shui,
Yeah.
apparently. I
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
if it's just
Oh,
Feng Shui.
people believe
Yeah.
in Feng Shui, it's
Yeah,
free.
that's right. Because actually, a lot of Chinese people I know don't take Feng Shui that seriously. But yeah, you're right. I had a Chinese client who I did all those things for, and then told me, no, I think that's a load of nonsense. And especially the thing about the front door and the back door connection. That's a bad thing. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then he told me to put it in. Yeah, yeah. He wanted it. Yeah, he wanted to see from his front door through to the backyard.
No.
Yeah, but some of them are kind of good ideas. Anyhow, so again, it could be a nice feature. You don't have to do it, but those are the things you should be thinking about. And a lot of hotels these days have more detailed and less minimal features than maybe in the past. Everyone's trying to do more interesting things these days to attract people. So definitely could be a good thing. Anyhow, so give some time to try that, and we'll have a look at the beam.